Osunigod, galele chigero hoki Wade Blevins Dawatong, he nakine talaki RSU TV we gonna new go kohig Josh go join talagi adelo coste. Welcome. I'm glad to be here. I'm Wade Blevins, and this is Cherokee 4 here on RSU TV. Today, I believe, is our 33rd Cherokee lesson. So, as you know, we're looking at a comic, Blondie and Dagwood, that was translated back in 1975 into Cherokee. So we're looking at that. In my mind, I thought this would be an easy translation. This would be something easy to do because, you know, it's a comic book. Kids read comic books all the time. However, it's been not quite as easy a process as I first anticipated. But we're still going to continue on. We're going to kind of slog our way through it to the best of our abilities. And we'll talk a little bit about the uniqueness of the language and how and why it's a challenge. Part of the problem is because English and Cherokee many times don't translate directly across from each other, you know. There's not a way to, and I know, especially with brand new learners, that's always a big problem. You know, they want to know how to say certain things exactly, and it's like, well, you know, really in Cherokee you can't say it like that. You know, we could translate it directly, but to a Cherokee speaker it wouldn't make any sense. Because we just have so many idiomatic expressions. We look at things in a different way. Even the way we define things are completely different. So direct translations often don't work. So whenever they're doing translation work, and I know also from working very closely with our translators at Cherokee Nation, they kind of read through something in English first, and then they try to figure out, okay, well, to a Cherokee, what is it that they're really trying to say? You know, and it's truly an amazing skill to be able to translate from one language to another, because it's very difficult, especially from Cherokee to English. Now, if you're doing like, you know, English to French or English to Spanish or something like that, it's not nearly as difficult. But with something like this, it's just very complicated. Compounded on top of that are the limitations, I guess you could say, of the syllabary system. As you know, and we've talked about before, we don't have a standardized spelling for words. So speakers just spell a word the way that it sounds to them, you know. And so then whenever you, for example, in conversational Cherokee, we drop a lot of things off, and certain sounds get lost, and so then when you're going back to put it into syllabary, you're like, okay, how am I going to do that? What letter am I going to use? And so then, you know, you do something that makes sense to you, but then you hand it off to another person, and then they have to kind of decode that, and they have to kind of get in your brain a little bit and unpack it the way that you think, you know. And so in working with this, it was very difficult at first, and the longer that I'm working with it, the more I kind of am starting to figure out the way that the translator kind of thought, and kind of the way the patterns that he tended to use when he was writing things. So we'll do the best that we can, and you know, some words, you know, I'm, you know, really confident with, and others, you know, in speaking with speakers, they're like, well, it kind of means like this, and and we'll talk about that as we go. So come, idalena jalagi dimoni. All right. So, of course, here is the cover, and we talked about the title. Of course, in English, the title is Blondie. And in Cherokee, it's called Ustijila. And but that's not the word that most modern speakers use to refer to somebody that has blonde hair. But as near as we can tell, Ustijila is a contraction of two different words, ustika, which is hair, and achila, which means fire. I think, of course, to us, from an English point of view, we tend to think of fire as being orange. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, yellow, of course, is, a color in fire. And so I can see how to some, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, okay, well, I understand now, maybe why they translated it that way. So it's kind of like fire hair or hair that's a flame or something like that. It's two words put together, ustijila, for blondie. So that's how they translated blondie. Okay, so let's go ahead and work our way through. So right now we're just going to do this part right here, the title of this first little skit, okay? And for your convenience, I wrote it out here because, well, we'll get into that as well. So if we look here, ustijila, okay, blondie, right? Then this next word, gi, kli, okay? And I can see where I already made a mistake. The reason being, as we, there we go, hang on, I fixed it. Let me see here. Let me go through and fix it really quick. Of course, I fixed it, and I fixed it on the wrong one. There we go. All right. Now, okay, so here it says gi kli, which is how we normally, but in our previous writings and stuff, if you remember, the translator translated the word gi, kli, dog, as gi, and they used the syllabary character li instead of kli. Okay, gi li. Okay, gi kli. Okay, so you can hear they sound very similar, and so since I was so used to doing the other, I just wrote it without really even looking at it. I wrote it gi li because I had gotten used to how that other writer wrote the word for dog, even though originally this is how I used to write it. This is how I was used to seeing it. Gi kli. So. Ustijila gi kli anid juna klai. Okay, so how much of that can you already figure out before I even start? So ustijila gi kli anid juna klai. Okay. Ustijila, blondie. Gitli, dog. Anid, young, right? Or baby. Anid is animals, baby animals that come in a litter, right? that are born in multiples, right? We talked about that, the difference between a need and a geen, right? So a geen is a young animal that is usually born as a single, like a calf, right? Wakageen. But a need is generally animals that are born in multiples, like pigs, sequanid, right? Young pigs, sequanid, or piglet, which of course was sequanid. Tojuwa sequanid was one of our medicine people's names. It's Tojuwa sequanid. So, and the singular of a need is ot. So Geetli ot would be one puppy. Geetli a need would be more than one puppy. Okay? And then here's this word, junatla. Okay? Junatla. Junatla'i. Okay? And we talked about the difference between that. The word uweka, right? Uweka or unika. And junatla. They both mean to have something living. Junatla is more to own it, right? Ustijila, blondie, Geetli anid, puppies, junatla, that they have. So the puppies that they have is the translation for this first, for the title, I should say. Okay? So, which is not the name of, in English at all. I think it was called Pup Logic, I think, but it's, and again, but to a Cherokee speaker, if you were to translate, I mean, of course we can translate pup, and we can translate the word intelligence or logic, but to a Cherokee speaker, if you translated that, you know, it really wouldn't make sense. So it's just, in Cherokee, they titled this Ustijila Gitlianid Junatla'i. So Blondie, and the puppies that they have, okay, or that they own, the puppies that they own, okay? So let's go on and let's work our way through this first little thought bubble, right? So if you look up here and you don't look at the bottom, matter of fact, I'll just take that off of there. So if you look here, you can see what they have. Let me go through. Okay. So let's see if we can read through it without. So it says, say, wa, say, wa, kohiwa, kohiwa, kohiwa. Hang on just a second. Let me double check myself because I always get wa and woo. No, it's wa. Okay. Sewa, kohiwa, usa, usa. Iga, usa, usad, usat, usatadidla, usadadidla, okay? Digiastiskesti, okay? Digiastiskesti. So let's look at it and let's see how close we were, okay? Okay, so say wa, and wa and wu are the same. Again, it's a dialect thing, so it's like say wa, ko hi wa, u sa, I ga. Now here, it looks like but say, well, maybe, but it doesn't make as much sense. Iga, usatadidla, usatadidla, dgsti. All right, so this was a hard one. So I don't expect you to know many of the words, but if you do, awesome. If not, join the club. So I had to. So sewa is like just, only, must, perhaps. Maybe that's a better word. Perhaps. Kohi wa usa. Okay. Just for tonight. Okay. Ko usa. Ko usa means tonight. Okay. And that's what this is. Kohi wa usa. Okay. So so just for tonight. Just tonight. Iga. No idea why it's in there. No idea. And none of the speakers that I spoke to could figure out why it was in there either. Because iga means day, right? So, you know, I don't know. But apparently, for this speaker and in this speaker's family and community, this is how they would say, you know, just for tonight. And then we have a contraction word, u sa ta di dla. Okay. And this for didla, we know means in the direction. Okay. U sa ta means like, it can mean a couple of different things. It can mean the back door. To some speakers, they mean that, to them that means like the back door. To other speakers, they're like, well, it means around back. And even to other speakers, they were like, you know, it's like the backyard. So. So yeah, it can mean a lot of different things. So it can mean, hang on, let me see if there's a, and unfortunately this word is not in the dictionary. But as we know, you know, not every Cherokee word or every Cherokee, but it means around back, okay? So it means around back. So in that direction, right? Okay. Okay, so usata is around back, didla in that direction, okay, dgsti, I'm gonna go in. Okay, I'm gonna DGST. I'm gonna go. DGST is to go through, and skesti is I'm fixing to go do that. So DGST skest means I'm gonna go through the back. Okay, so I'm gonna go in through the back. Okay. So that's a hard sentence, right? Especially right out the gate, the very first sentence, and it's, really complicated. But, it just helps us, right? So let's read through it together, and we'll see how it goes. So, say one, ko hi wa, san, iga. Usatadil, DGST. Okay, let's read it one time. Again. Sewa, kohiwa, usa, eka. Usatadil, DGST. So, perhaps just tonight I'll go in through the back, the back. Now I will read to you the original translation. So the original translation for this page was, just for a change tonight, I'll go in the back door instead of the front door, is what it said. So that's what this thought bubble said, was just for a change tonight, I'll go in the back door instead of the front door. In Cherokee, however, it just says, perhaps tonight I'll go in through the back. Okay? So, so you can kind of see how it's different, right? Okay, so then we go to the next panel, and we see, he walks in, and all the puppies attack him and are biting him, and then knock him down. And here is what he says. Okay? Okay, it says, Kla skon yiskiolig. Okay. Aya ijadod. Okay, so this one's fairly easy. So I think maybe some of you might be able to understand kind of what's going on in this one. So, Tlasko yiskiolig aya ijadoda. Okay, so Tlasko is like don't, okay, not. Tlasko, Tlas, yiskiolig, you recognize me, okay? Iskiolig means for you to recognize me or know me, right? So, and then of course the Y sound is just a part of that whole tla construction, right? So we know that part, right? Tlasko yiskiolig. So don't you all, means all of you recognize me, because look, if we look at the picture, he's talking to all of the puppies, right? He's not just talking to one, he's talking to all the puppies. So, Tlasko yiskiolig, don't you all recognize me? Tlasko yiskiolig. Okay. Then the next sentence, or the next one, says aya ijadod. Okay? So, ya, me, myself, I, ichadoda, means all of your fathers, right? It's like, I'm your dad, right? I'm all of your dad, right? Not just one person's dad. I'm all of your dad. Yeah, ichadoda. I'm your dad. Okay? So in the original, let's see what the original says. In the original, it says, "Don't you recognize me, your own father?" So pretty close that time, right? It's a pretty close translation that time. So let's read through it a few times, and then we will continue on. So, tla, skon, yi, ski, yo, liga, yiski, yo, liga, ya, ijedod, ijedoda. Okay, ijedoda. Okay, so this kla skon, you hear this skon, especially Eastern Band. They use that shkon quite often, quite a bit. To me, in Oklahoma, however, we seem to shorten that to tlas. So they could have just as easily said tlas yiskiolig, tlas yiskiolig. Okay. Aya itzadod. So, but tlaskon, I think is probably the more proper, correct way to say it and to do it. However, in a lot of communities and a lot of speakers, they would just say tlas, tlas. Okay? Tlaskon yiskiolig, aya itzadod. Okay? Let's go to the next one. So let's see what happens next. Okay, so in the next one, we'll do this one first. This part right here. Okay. So let's. There it is. Okay, I was getting ready to say. I was like, where's her part? There it is. Okay. So I'll give you just a few seconds to see if you can read through it by yourself. Okay. Then we will read through it, and then we'll try to work our way through the translation of it. Okay? So let's read through it together. Okay? This, do, he, you, ka, yo, gon. Okay? So this is an interesting word. Now, if we took the last three off of that, do, he, you, it might make more sense to you. Okay? Or even if we take and we just say do you, really, right? Do he, you, truly. Okay? So, and then this kayo, gon, is like an emphasis word. So dohiyu kayo gon is like for real, right? Like really, really. Is kind of how you would translate it. So this kayo gon is the ka. Yeah, it's just an emphasis. This kayo gon makes it more really. Okay, dohiyu kayo gon, like for real, right? So dohiyu kayo gon is just another way of saying really, really. Okay, so then it says I ski ya jo se da. Okay, I ski ya jo se da. Okay, and this is like, it means to be like trouble or worrisome or a nuisance, a bother, a commotion. It's basically something not good, right? So, she's saying, you're really being a big bother, is kind of what she's saying. It's like you can, and this habitual, this on sound on here means, you habitually, so she's kind of like saying, you really can cause problems sometimes, is kind of, is really what she's saying, dohi yu kayo gon iskia joset, iskia joseta. So she's saying, really, you truly are a bother sometimes. Now, the original translation, let's see how close we are. Okay, so, okay, in the original, she says, honestly, Dagwood, you can cause more commotion. So it's pretty close, right? So, but they had to, it says, really, you're bothering me, right? You're being a nuisance to me. You're kind of being a punk, right? So, yeah, it's like, it's like you're causing a problem. Okay. Okay. So, it's like you're really causing problems, is what she's saying. Dohi kayo gon iskia joset. So, then his reply, he says, do you e, se no, kla taline, yida ganel tani. Yi daganel tani. Yi daganel tani. Yi daganeli tani. But yi daganel tani. Yeah. So, do you really, or true, do you that's true. Say no, okay. Usually we would say say no, but, okay, say no. Tla, no. Taline, again, or second, right? Taline, second. Yidaganel tani. I'm not going to try it, okay? So he's saying true, but I'm not going to try that again, okay? I'm not trying that again. Okay, so he went in such a good mood, and now he's all mad, and he's like, okay, well, that was a big mistake, and I'm never going to do that again, right? So let's read both parts. Dohiyu kayo gong iskia joset. Doyu seno tla tanline yidaganel tani. Yidaganel tani. Okay. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay. So we're going to talk about this one. And so let's look at it up here, okay? So this says adajewi, adajewi, adajewi. Pretty confident there. And then je, ge, wa, le. Okay? Je, ge, wa, le. S. And then this is wa. Tawe, do, di. Okay? I believe that this is a mistake. I think, and that's why I put it here, gi in ski towe do di, ski towe do di. Okay? So I believe that ski towe do di. That makes more sense, and we'll talk about it here in just a second. So this word adajewi, I believe, is his name, Dagwood. Ada means wood. Jewi, no idea, but adajewi. I'm pretty sure that's the translation they gave for Dagwood. So adajewi. J, gay, this is gay, but if you say jakewale, okay, jakewale means you forgot. Jakewale. Did you forget? Tukewale, did you forget? Ski tawe dote, ski, you to me, okay? And tawe dote is to kiss. So it says, adachewe, jakewale, ski tawe dote. So did you forget to kiss me? Did you forget to kiss me? Okay. So skitowe is you to kiss me. Okay. So I guess you could even use that. You could say awadule skitowe. I want you to kiss me, right? You could say that. You know, awadule, I want skitowe for you to kiss me. Okay. So, atatewi, chakewale, skitowe doti. Okay. Did you forget to kiss me? Chakewale. Did you forget? Skitowe doti, to kiss me. And then his reply, he says, oh, dohiule. It's like, oh, that's right. You know, oh, really? For real. I guess that would be like our version today when you say, oh, my bad, right? He's like, oh, for real though, right? That's kind of what he's saying here. So, datewe, jakewale, skitowe dote, oh, dohiule. Okay, so she says, Dagwood, did you forget to kiss me? And he says, oh, that's right, dohiu, for real. And so then we see he gives her a kiss, and of course all the puppies think it's hilarious, and so they start making fun, okay? So let's see what happens next. So let's see if we can read it. Let's see if we can read it without me writing it out. So this is do you ka yo unegildi. Okay. Ooh. I think that's E. I think that's a jaw. Pretty sure that's a te. N. T. D. So let's, yeah. So, as you can see, because the quality is not that good, sometimes we can't, we just have to kind of give it an educated guess. So, doyu kayo, okay, related to that dohiyu kayogo, right? So doyu kayo means you really are, or is it really? Doyu kayo, really. Unegilti. Unegilti means ugly. Unegilt means ugly. Okay? Ijatain titi. Ijadon. I bet this is da. Aha. That makes so much more sense. So this whole time I've been like, gosh, there's something wrong there. So I believe that that is da. So because it makes way more sense. Ijadantiti. Yeah, that makes sense. Because ichatain titi just doesn't quite sound right. Ichatan titi, or ichatan tid. Okay. So, do you kayo? Remember, we learned that was for real, right? Do you kayo? Une guilty, ugly. Ichatan titi, ichatan tid. You're all thinking, okay? Ichatan. So it says you all are really thinking ugly, right? You're really all thinking ugly. Let's see. Let's read the translation and let's see what the original said. It says, "You pups have a warped sense of humor." Okay, so as you can see here, that's not a direct translation. So, do you kayon une gilt ijadantid ijadantid. So it says, for real, ugly, you all are thinking. So, it's like, it's like you have an ugly mind, right? Is kind of what they're saying there. So, ijadantid. Let's read through it a couple of times again together. Do you kayo unegilti ijadantid. Okay, so let's read back through just as far as we've gotten, okay? So, this is ustijila gitli anid junatlai. Sewa kohiwa usa ig usatadid digias disgest. Klasko yiskiolig aya itadod. Dohiyu kayogo iskia joseta. Iskia joset. Do you in a seno tla taline yidaganel tani. Atachewi jakewale skitawe doti. Oh, dohiule. Do you kayo unel guilt ijadantid? Okay, so let's read through it. Well, we're just about out of time, so we don't really have time to read it again. But I just want to encourage you. So this was a lot more difficult than it seemed right at first. But if we just take it a little bit at a time and don't get freaked out, and just do what we can, and then ask for help when we need it, we can, even something like this, we can, get through it. But sometimes, we have to also take into account there's human error involved. Keep in mind that a lot of speakers, most speakers don't write in Cherokee every day. And they didn't back then either. Cherokee is mostly a spoken language, and so to have and so to write, it takes some effort, and so they had to really think about it. But I think we were pretty well able to make heads or tails of the whole thing. So from all of us here at Cherokee Nation RSU TV, I just want to say wadong, thank you, and don dago hai till we see each other again.